Okay, I played the pawn up to d4, so I'll follow a c4. You might go into a Nimzo Indian. Or a King's Indian. I'm going to bring the knight out here. And I'm going to castle. See if he wants to push or take. I'm playing this a little differently. Usually I fianchetto when playing against the King's Indian. So he didn't push, he didn't take, he just left it there. Let's take. Let's trade queens. And, okay, the rook can't penetrate. This, though, this knight is a problem, potentially. We could move the knight here, and he kicks it here. And he takes it. Okay, well, let's just move the rook to the side for now. So it's off the diagonal. So I don't have to do anything about this pawn right away, but eventually it needs to be supported. That's why I need to move my rook. My knight, I mean. Okay, I'm going to do a very backwards kind of thing here. I'm going to play... I am going to play b3, maybe knight or bishop to b2. Oh, he's going to get his knight in there. Clever, clever. Okay, let's kick it. We will force it in. Force it to go where he's threatening to go. Yeah. So now I can just put my knight back here. It's fine. But, you know, it might be better to go here. And then here, he's got this isolated pawn. Oh, I have this pawn, which is hardly supported. So we'll just support it. Then we can protest. We can protest the bishop there. Okay, and then we can put a knight up here. I want to get my knight to d5. Yeah, he wants to stop me. Now I can put a rook here. We can start thinking about how we're going to capture this pawn. I can push this pawn forward and move the knight here. I won't be able to put the knight there. That's what I wanted to do, is put a knight there. What's he going to do? Is he going to take? It's a bit risky opening up that diagonal, isn't it? Let's activate the rook. Ah. Okay. I see. He's going to force me to move my rook. Yeah, let's go back here and defend my bishop. That's a useful thing anyway. So I can still push the e-pawn and move my knight. I can still do it. The thing is, it gives his bishop a good square. I think I have to do it, though. I can put my knight here, go to e4 and then to f3. Okay, so he's going to take that, huh? I can still put my knight to f6, I was thinking, not f3, f6. Yeah, let's go. It's a nice little fork. You know, he was moving so fast, there had to be something. I can get the exchange or I can get a whole bishop. Let's take the bishop. So I can go back and maybe get a rook. Okay, let's put some pressure on the pawn. Aha, he didn't like that. But now I can double up on that pawn. Ah, he can take this pawn, huh? He takes. Okay, let's get back here. And then, like I said, we can double up on this pawn. Actually, what we can do first is we can harass his rook. Are you Jimmy McGill? I'm not. Actually, I don't know Jimmy McGill. Okay, so we put more pressure on the advanced pawn. That's his lone trump card in this position. Who's Jimmy McGill? I'll do a search afterwards, maybe. Ah, I see. If I take with the knight, then this pawn is exposed. Here, I'll just bring my king over. If I take with the knight, the rook is exposed, yeah. So now it's protected, and I can just take this pawn. Okay, so yeah, step aside so I can take a pawn. Let's do this so I can get my knight up. And we'll mop up some pawns over here. Oh, okay, okay. He's clever. He is being clever. I have to blockade the king. Could have taken the pawn at least. So it looks like it's a draw. I'm just going to lock it up. Oh, I should have taken the h-pawn. Maybe I get it anyway. Okay, what's the most effective way to do this? Just going here, blockading the pawn, bringing my king over? Actually, I don't have to do that. I could just start by bringing my king over. Now I should do this. Oh, I did this wrong. I was thinking I could get my king to here, but I can't quite do it. I was one step short. For the queen here and the king here, I can blockade. So if he did that, that's fine. And he resigned. Yeah, I won that one. Huh. Yeah, let's go back for a few seconds. Queen c3 seemed better. Yeah, it was. It would have been better. So, but I couldn't do queen b2 here because queen c3 here because he'd already moved his king. So if I was going to put the queen on c3, I needed to do it here instead of the king move. Which actually that's good. I would get what I wanted. Let's see if he goes here with this king. And then he goes here with this king, but I can get my king to here. This is what I was going for, but that check gives me an extra. And he has to move. That's the key point. He has to move. If he pushes the pawn, I can take it, check, and then probably take this other pawn. If he moves the king back, then I can step here with my king. Okay, let's see. I can do this off screen, right? Let me look up who Jimmy McGill is. Jimmy McGill. Breaking Bad. Oh, he's Saul Goodman. I see. Now, I'm not Saul Goodman either. You know, I never watched Breaking Bad, so I'm not the best person for that kind of commentary. Okay, here we'll start off with D4. Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of good things about it. Whoa, we got a Dutch defense here. That's nice. What do we do? I haven't seen that in so long. I think I'll just put up my usual pawn structure here. So you do the 2 pawns to stop his f-pawn push. But he's already weakened my center a bit. Or I voluntarily weakened it by doing that trade. So he can push, and if I have to take, then this pawn becomes isolated. He's got some ideas here. I don't know about that one. I'm gonna put my rook here, right opposite his queen. Okay, he got his set up, and now he's stopped to think. I think I'm not going to take that knight right away. But what do I do instead? First, let's get the bishop into position. So I'm setting up my queen here to be defending the knight, so that I can move the pawn, so that I can play the bishop to here. And he is maneuvering his bishop around. Interesting. So he put the bishop on that diagonal. So what I'm also planning to do is put my other knight here, and then just kick his knight away. Okay, he took, and then he's piling up the pressure on this pawn, but that's not a problem. I think I'm actually going to push this pawn. Got the knight and the bishop in a good position where I can just push it, and when I take, it's a discovered attack on his queen. He can maybe pin my knight. Just takes. I take back. So he's not contesting this. Interesting. So I take with the rook, or the knight. Yeah, I think I take with the rook. I'm trying to disrupt this queen and bishop battery. Bishop, there is a loose bishop over here. Oh, take with the bishop? Possibly. Possibly. Okay, this is defended. But let's see, I could take with the knight here. He could come here or here, huh? Let's take here. And thank you for the follow, Kino Tella Dad joke. And Gaping Hole Productions, thank you for the follow. So yeah, he's got to decide whether to take with the rook or the queen. Taking with the rook has its points. He has this bishop. He could maybe get a rook to this location. Yeah. So what? I just challenge that rook right away? Well, what I was planning to do, I think I will just go ahead and do this. I was planning to harass his bishop. Well, the queen is not on this diagonal. Now the bishop can't go here. Can't go here. See if it finds a good home. I think it has to go back, which will make it less active. Then I can bring a rook over to harass his queen. Let's see. So material is even. I have an isolated queen's pawn here. And he's got the bishop pair. I have the bishop pair too. So it's the isolated queen's pawn is probably the main feature at this position. So if I take the knight and he puts the rook here, I mean, I take the bishop with my knight. Let's bring the rook here to defend the knight. He was threatening to take it. So yeah, he switches gears. Let's get rid of this dark squared bishop. Now I've got the bishop pair. And he's got a rook here. Can't coordinate with the bishop. And I can push this pawn, which will help me by I get a check here. He gets a check here. Yeah, he could check here and then put his rook here. Could be interesting. But yeah, if he does it this way, then I'm just going to take with check. And then get this pawn. I'll have a pawn plus the bishop pair. Should be good for the end game. And he has nothing on the dark squares at the moment, so just bring the bishop back. Okay, he wants to get rid of my dark squared bishop, huh? I suppose I could have counterattacked his light squared bishop. Let's see, knight here, rook here. No, it's defended. For a second I thought it was undefended. takes that way. Okay. I was, yeah, I had an idea. As you say. As I say. So, oh, I see. He defended it that way. That's clever. See, I was going to put my bishop here, defended by the rook, to attack his knight. But, well, I can attack his knight the other way. So maybe he's trying to arrange opposite colored bishop's endgame, which would be drawing for him. That would be pretty clever. He could defend the rook with the knight with his rook. And then if I take the knight, and he takes, and I take, and he takes, then he's got a light squared bishop, and I have a dark squared bishop. Okay, but he decided to do that. Let's go here then. I want to get to this square and attack here. If I can attack on the dark squares. You will have trouble defending. This is a fork. This pawn or this pawn. And this one goes with check. If I take with the bishop and pick up the rook. It's all good. Yeah, let's do that. And he ran out of time, but he was going to lose there anyway. So I think that was a pretty nice game. Here, let's play another one. Majid Emun. He starts with the Queen's Indian. The Queen's Indian attack. I don't think I've seen that. Excuse me. Put the knight there and then put the bishop here and castle. A simple man I am. Okay, so let's push these pawns. Can go pawn to d4 here and shut down his bishop. And why not? And I can go pawn to e5 here too and get the little pawn triangle going. Okay, I'm going to develop my knight to f5 and then have a hole on h7 to retreat it to. Okay, he's attacking this pawn. Okay, I have to push. He can move this knight with tempo, but it doesn't look like it can do anything terrible. Well, it can take this pawn. It can take this pawn. He should have taken the pawn probably. I see. He's going to win a pawn anyway because of that knight vulnerability. Let's see. But if I take here, he takes my knight, I take his knight. And then I retreat. So yeah, that didn't help what he did. He could have just taken the d pawn, I think. So if I play b5 to kick that knight again, oh, it opens up this diagonal. I don't want to do that. Let's develop the bishop. Okay, I'm giving up a pawn. That's so much for b5. But I can take the knight. That's a bit of a... So if I take the knight and he takes with the pawn, then this will be loose after he retreats his bishop. So he's actually in a bad way here. It was a poisoned pawn. He just didn't realize it. Oh, he took there. Yeah, you can do that. See, how about if I put my rook here, threatening to take his bishop? Knight takes, queen takes. Yeah, that's no good. Okay, but his bishop is out of the way. On the wrong side of the board. Here, let's put my bishop here. So he frees his knight up. The freezing knight. Okay, this is guarded, this is guarded. Let's attack that knight. That was guarded. That was funny. Okay, so what I want to do is put my queen here and mate him. That's maybe a little too simple. How about if we start with the knight maneuver so I can get my queen out? Get my queen off the back rank. Put the queen here. Then I could put the knight here, and he takes, and I mate him. On g2, got the bishop and the queen in a line here. But this way, okay, he just wants to trade bishops, but that's not, surely that's not good for him. Yeah, that is. It's an ember mug. It does keep the tea warm. Nice forks in the last game. Well, thank you. Yeah, it just makes it easier to get rid of one of the bishop pair. Makes it easier to find squares for the queen. Okay, let's activate the rook. So he can chase me off the dark squares with his dark squared bishop, but I can have the light squares to play on. So maybe I'll go here, in fact. Say, looking right at the king. The knight here, and I'll have 3 pieces on this square. And I'll be able to sacrifice and mate here. Knight takes, pawn takes. Yeah, so he defended with the queen. But, you know, I'm a piece up, so just taking pieces off the board will win for me. I'm going to double my rooks on the e-file. Aha. I moved my king over first so I can bring the other rook to this file, but I do want to take. I can show you the mate I saw here. He didn't let me do it, so. Okay, and take this way. Attack the pawn. Yeah, this is a little bit dangerous. Rook here still is okay, I think, because he's got a fork. He's got a fork. I have to be respectful of that. And he just brought the king over, so I can take that pawn. I will. His bishop has been shut out for most of the game. Okay. Knight here to here. Knight here to here. Just take over that E file, the open file. See, attack the pawn. I'm attacking the C pawn and the bishop behind it. So he defends, and then I bring the rook in here. Knight. The knight attacks this pawn, so he can't defend both of these pawns. If he had a bishop, that was out and about. So he decided to defend that pawn, so I'll take this one. And I can take this pawn too, because the knight is protected and the pawn is pinned. Okay, so he has to step aside with the rook, and now I can go back here, I guess. It's nice to have multiple threats, yes. Or treats, too. Multiple treats is good. So I can fork here. And then he can't take with the pawn. He can't take with the bishop, but then I can take with the pawn, so it's like a trade. Oh, he can get my bishop. He set up a pin. He resigned. You know, let's play this out a little bit. So he could have taken here. And then when I take, he takes here. But then I get to take here. So it's a rook and pawn endgame where I'm about 3 pawns up. These 3 are up. So it's probably still winning. Yeah, let's turn on the engine and see what it says. Yeah, it says -9, so I guess it's winning. But it does say, yeah, he can take that bishop. It doesn't have this rook taking the other bishop. It has this king moving. That is interesting. So there's something really good here. Oh, because I can queen. Even better than taking, I can queen. And he can't, look at this. The rook can't go here to stop that pawn, and it can't go here to stop the pawn. It's restricted, so a queen is going to happen. Yeah. Well, you go have a good dinner, Danby. Let's see. There was something else I wanted to look at. Oh, someone was asking about the forks, or the mate threat. It was when the queen was still on. Here was my idea. Say he does a nothing move. Just lifts the queen up, but doesn't oppose my queen. Then I go here. And say he brings the rook out and ignores my threat. Then I can take here, and if he takes back, then I go here with check. King goes here, and then I go here with mate. So the bishop and the queen mate. That was my idea. Okay, let's get a new opponent. When the levee breaks. All right, playing a classical queen's pawn opening with d4 and c4. The Bogo Indian. I did the Bogo Indian last time. Someone played this. Here, I'm trying the counter gambit. Oh, he didn't take. Okay. I don't want the knight hopping into b5 here. I don't mind if he exchanges out on c6. It's supported by 2 pawns, so it doesn't do damage to my pawn structure, or cost me a pawn or anything. And here, I'll put pressure on his knight. And I can play d5 here. Get a good center. Shut his bishop out. So I'm just going to get castled, then I'll just have to develop my light squared bishop and I'll be okay. He's got his development problems too. He wasted a lot of time with these pawn moves. I mean, he has an advanced pawn structure, so it wasn't all wasted, but instead of developing, that's what he has. He has the pawn moves. Let's castle. So I guess we'll put the bishop here. To oppose his bishop. And I could push the h-pawn, I guess. Let's step aside with the queen here. I just was checking to make sure he couldn't put his bishop to the square. Then I can... oh, now he's going to take, huh? Because I can't take back. Okay, that was well spotted. I will admit that. Here, we step over here maybe. I don't want the pin on this file. I want to be able to take back with the c-pawn when he takes. And I want to be able to play a5 here to disrupt these pawns. Ah, he's tricky with his pins. He was pinning on the D file. So now this knight has to decide if it wants to give itself up for a bishop. It does. Okay. Now this is still good. Yeah, I finally get to play that I wanted to. I think I want to defend the bishop. I mean, I could move the bishop. I have an idea maybe of putting a rook here. Well, When the Levee Breaks is playing very well. So we're going to chase that rook away, or not. I think we will chase it away eventually. If he moves the rook sideways, then there's mate back here, sir. Not mate. It's not mate, but I can take here with check at least. I have to be careful. I've got a back rank mate of my own. Yeah. So here's a check. I can do this much at least. And maybe go here. So I can step up into a dark square. And then all I have to do is push this pawn, yeah, and mate him. I guess it's not that simple, but it's getting close. Close to being dangerous. See, he can bring the queen in to check me, but I can step up and that defends everything. He can also put the queen here or here to attack my bishop. But, well, I can defend with the bishop, with the queen, or I can move the bishop. So I think I'm good. I think I'm safe. Got to check here. But there's no follow-up check. D4 check was a nice find. Yeah, and I'd been thinking about that already. It was part of my idea. I was thinking I was going to mate him with that, but actually this bishop here defends. So, you know, it's the crossfire of the queen and the bishop. Would leave the king in sore straits. And also with the pin, you know, if I could find a way to exploit the pin here. Anyway, if he's not checking me on the next move, then I can take here. So I guess he has to take if he wants to keep the pawn. Mostly because he couldn't take after d takes e3. And he resigned. I don't know if I would resign in this position. I would fight on. Here, let's go to the analysis board. I guess he was also worried about the time. -6. Okay, so e2 is coming. Ah, e2. Ah, that's the one. You know, I've been missing that idea a lot. Just push it instead of taking. The take is tempting because it wins a pawn and the king is checked. and you get to more checks. But this is probably stronger, yeah. He goes here. You go here to threaten mate. He takes the pawn and you mate him. Oh, you don't mate him, you can only check him because this square is covered. You can take that with check. And then bring the bishop out. Well, it doesn't say mate in X or anything, but it does say -9. So I guess this is a pretty good position. Yeah, so right here, it's +1 for white. So if he checks immediately here or threatens my bishop, then white still has the advantage. So his mistake was the king, moving the king into the line of fire of the bishop. It helps me to play the move that I wanted to play anyway. That's interesting. Okay, new game.